Welcome to episode 95 of Nobody Special.
In this episode, we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly in 2019.
The Gospel Outpost presents Nobody Special. Hey everyone, welcome to Nobody Special, two nobodies talking about the somebody who matters. I'm Danny, the host and time traveler of Nobody Special.
And I'm Caleb, you're the host of Nobody Special. This is a podcast where two generations of people talk about God, pop culture, politics, and everything in between, all while not taking any of it too seriously.
Hello, Caleb.
Hello, Christmas is over.
Christmas is over.
Christmas died.
No.
No. Did it, though?
No. No,
Died.
we'll do it again next year.
But it's reincarnating?
No, it's
No?
Christian. It's resurrecting. So this is kind of bittersweet for a lot of people. Christmas is over.
Yeah.
Church employees, I know, have this odd love and hatred of Christmas. We love it because it's just a great time where people are generally happy and enjoying each other's company. And also, most churches add like 7 or 8 services. So, it's kind of interesting, but it's good. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get anything good for Christmas?
I got some stuff for my new computer.
Knowing that Jesus is the whole cause of this and gifts are not the proper emphasis and focus, but is a good time for sharing and, extending joy through gifts.
Yes.
So did you get any cool gifts for Christmas?
I got an Apple Magic Mouse, a SSD, and
solid state drive.
Something else. I got something else. I can't remember.
A high five from your friend
a lens
Danny.
That you're seeing us through right now.
That
sucked too.
No, but that's it. It wasn't a good gift, but it was the gift we have.
But yeah, what about you?
So this has been a thing that I've been trying to explain to younger generations for a bit. That there comes a day where gifts you thought were horrible are actually some of the better gifts that you can give.
Right.
I got matching towels and silverware because I was tired of my towels and silverware not matching.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm super stoked about it too.
Yeah.
So, and gift cards.
Right.
Because people said, like, what do you want for Christmas? I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, oh my gosh, you're the worst. Have a gift card. And that's how that went.
I think you and I both decided it's great getting things you need.
Right.
And even things that you want, but are still like adult things.
Right.
But also, like, you got to get something fun in there.
One stupid thing. There
because
has to be one
me and
stupid
Denny
thing a year.
didn't, and it's not like our parents' fault or anything. Because I think both of us, we asked for stuff, and that's what our parents get us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And which is super awesome.
Absolutely.
But I think we've decided, like, you want a Nintendo Switch.
I do. And I have this real garbage reason for actually thinking about it is because I know I'm going to have days I'm going to have to be in the office just like 12 hours or something just because a meeting's scheduled here and I'm just not going to go home.
Right.
So I want something to do for like an hour.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, Nintendo Switch is portable gaming. So we may be thinking about that. I don't know. If I do, it'll be a combination of those gift cards, banking points, and I am not going to pay for it because that goes against the whole spirit of what it is we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, it's $300, and I just don't know if I can justify that. Like,
yeah.
Can I justify its existence? But I do.
Get the Switch Lite.
No, it's not a Switch.
Get the.
It doesn't switch.
It's Switch's branding. It's just the name of what it is.
It doesn't do the brand thing. I can't switch between TV and handheld. Yeah. It's just handheld.
Well, yeah. I think I decided I want Legos.
Right? I mean,
that's like way
after
this. That's way more childish than a Nintendo Switch.
No, yeah, I just didn't want to say that on the podcast that I also want some Bionicles. Do they still make those?
I don't know, actually.
Bionicles are my jam.
Yeah.
I love those things.
I
They're
can't
so
stand
cool.
them.
Why?
I've just been in classic Lego.
They're like robots who punch.
But like I've gotten a Lego set like every single Christmas.
Right.
And this is the first year I decided I'm like, no, everyone says you're supposed to be an adult, Caleb. But I mean, I collect them. I don't like play with them. But, I mean, yeah, come on. I'm not going to tell you guys that, except I just did.
You pull out your Star Wars action figure. Captain Caleb is at the helm, you know.
But I've always wanted, like, the model Death Star. The giant set that costs $400. I can't afford it, but I want it. Yeah, that's the thing people don't prepare you for, is that after finally getting to a point of being able to afford that stuff, you super can't buy it or something. I have bought things before, it's been a while, that I have said to the cashier who didn't ask, yeah, it's for my little cousin, or it's for my little nephew or something. Yeah. And at the time my brother didn't have kids. It was just like, yeah, it's for my it's for my nephew, you know. Right.
And she just stared at me like, is it though? I'm like, listen, if you want to come over and help build the set, I'm all about it, because it's huge and I'm going to need help. So,
God.
No, but other than that, how was Christmas? Did you have a good Christmas?
Yeah, I had a good Christmas with my family. Aww. And my mom and dad and my brother and his pups came here.
Stinking adorable, by the way.
I know.
Yeah.
It's bad how cute they are. But they came here. And it was great. We played some board games, and we're probably going to continue. I mean, because we're recording this on Thursday.
Right.
It's going to continue.
And they're in for like 10 more days or something like that. Yeah. So, no, that's good. I know they're coming from Colorado, Texas, where else, and it's good to have everyone under the same home again. Yep.
What about you? You had your parents in too, right?
I had parents in. They were it's good to have them, because we just kind of chill. It's nice to come home to just have somebody there and go do dumb stuff and watch movies that I can't just turn on alone because it feels weird. Actually, we saw that a new thing on Amazon Prime, the Aeronauts. I'm gonna be honest, I thought I was going to hate it. About the people in the hot air balloon.
I don't know.
It's super good. No. It's a movie. It's Eddie Redmayne and Felicity Jones. And they're in a hot air balloon trying to break a record for how far people have gone in like 1894 or something like that.
Something goes terribly wrong.
Well, yeah. Yeah, it's not 90 minutes of smooth sailing.
I was about to
what
say,
a great movie, but no conflict, you know? Yeah. No,
yeah.
It was a phenomenal movie, though. Like, super great movie.
That's
so,
cool.
So yeah. And it was just good to catch up. I mean, Mom and Dad spent a good amount of time in Montana because I have my brother with his now 5 children.
Right.
Who are getting old and tall, and they're going to be taller than him. Your kids are going to be taller than you, Ryan.
Seriously? Wow.
Yes, actually. One of them is crazy tall. Like, oh boy, wow, you're just going to go for it. All right.
Yeah.
No, but they're going to spend a lot of time in Montana, and Grandma came, so I don't get to see her that often just because in the past it was hard for either of us to travel, so it's kind of good to just get as many people here as possible. And we played card games and some other stuff, and watched a movie, and it was a lot of fun.
They all come to your house?
No, we actually did Christmas dinner at the hotel, so it felt very Sweet Life of Zach and Cody-ish. I was like, is Mr. I'm gonna ruin this joke by not remembering his name.
Zaxby's.
Mosby.
I always remember
Mr.
him by
Zaxby's.
I know there's B in there somewhere.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna run through a lobby, but I knew that was a big thing. Like, no running in my lobby. So
yeah.
Anyway, it was kind of cool though, and I got to keep the leftovers because they're all traveling. So if you want ham later, please let me know. I have a lot of ham. I have a lot of ham.
But New Year's is coming up.
It is,
and it's something that is exciting and scary and fun, and
I was about to say, why is it scary? And then I thought of like 6 things, just like these reasons.
Right?
I'm like, oh my gosh,
scary.
yeah. So, no, I think it's important though. To around this time do 2 different things, and we're gonna do them both in this podcast. You gotta talk about the past a bit and stuff that it was good, stuff that it was a not good, and then also talk about the future a bit. So, this is kind of our a low-key podcast of going back to go ahead and all that. So 2019, Caleb, how was your 2019?
2019, diving in was crazy. I mean, gosh, I guess it's weird. I guess it starts in January, which I honestly do my years by school schedule. That's summertime when the new year starts.
And how's that working for you now?
It's not.
Time stopped in May.
But, I look back on things that God has done and things that are fun and not fun. And it's I don't know, it's cool. I had a good year.
Yeah, this was a big, a momentous kind of changes for you going on.
Yeah.
You had a lot of stuff starting in January and going on. I mean, you graduated high school. You got your own place. Got a big boy job. This is a lot. This is a lot going on.
Right, and that's that's really it's some important things. But I look back and I'm just glad that God used the apprenticeship I did for film at the church I go to kind of train me up and really kind of teach me a lot of things about what I know and do now.
Right.
And, continuing to grow. I'm nowhere near where, perfect at all, which is exciting, when it comes to skills and knowing that you have a lot more to learn when it comes to, lighting or how a camera works. Camera's actually pretty...
No, Caleb, you're doing great.
But when it comes to that, I learned a lot there, and that not even just film, but it about God and my relationship with Him and how film works in ministry setting.
Right.
And it was just super cool. And then that of course stopped when I took my job at and just had video where I am now, and jobs are jobs, and it was a different. I'd been doing. I had an internship at just had video, but it's very different between ministry setting,
right,
and corporate,
right, absolutely.
Going into that, and it was good, and it was a transition, but. I'm working through it, and
a job's a job, and every job has ups and downs, and every job has parts that you enjoy and hate and all that.
Right, yeah.
Even from a church perspective, I know people that have told me, hey, I'm interested in working at a church. There have been or kind of the default answer I have is to say, oh, why? Because if there isn't that calling, it's kind of a thing that a job at a church is still a job. There's ups and downs. There's added ends of stuff. I had a day a few weeks ago. I had to fill out a budget, kind of a not even a budget, a cost. This is why I'm not an accountant, because I cannot think of a statement. I had to turn in all the papers for everything I spent, where it goes to, and all that. And that was just how I spent a chunk of that day. And that's a part of a job. I'm not going to claim they trained me for that in seminary. They absolutely 100% did not. But that is part of a job, and every job has ups and downs. But
right.
People claiming, I'm going to go to a church, I try and tell them, it's being in a job in a church isn't all of us come in, pray, float on clouds, take communion, and go home. It's a job.
Yeah.
If a person can push past that as an expectation, after that, they'll tend to be pretty good. But it's kind of a weed out to people that are going to get disillusioned in a ministry is, can they handle an actual job?
Right.
Which is really weird, kind of a trade-off there.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry, that's totally, I don't know why we're there.
No, I mean, that's so true.
It's every job's a job, so.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like that bleeds into, where's God calling you and what calling means. And that, it's like, where's God calling you specifically? Not what are you called to, and, divided by working at a church or anywhere else.
Yeah.
But I mean, a job is a job, and they all operate basically the same. I mean, it's just the environment around you that's different.
Sure.
And it's and I mean that's kind of what I learned, I would say, is going through that. And I did graduate high school, which is awesome that God allowed that to happen, because I mean that was God. I barely did any school in 2019.
Still waiting on that final project, aren't we?
But I did that and moved out. And my parents, left, which is hard, and sad, of course.
Right.
But you get used to it after a while.
Do you haven't?
Kind of.
It changes. Yeah. I get what you mean.
You get used to being depressed all the time.
Oh, I hate that. That's the expectation of adulthood. It's just like, no, that's just how adulthood works. You're depressed all the time. I'm like, I really do hate that. It's I know I talked about this previous episode too, but that's why for Christmas gifts it's get one dumb gift every year, because you have to cling to some amount of fun that isn't I go and drink. Just I know way too many people like, hey, I socially drink. Like, you're too social then. So
aren't you an introvert?
Right. So
but God has worked through tons of different ways in 2019, and it's crazy. Like, it actually blows my mind that it's almost over. Like, I keep on thinking it's still like August
March,
for some reason. But,
so of 2019, what's been the most challenging? Because I do think it's important to go through, tell the fun stories, but also to tell the honest stories about what was the hardest.
What was the hardest? I think the hardest thing for me was jumping from like part-time, whether it's schoolwork, the apprenticeship, or my internship, to full-time.
Right.
To like always being somewhere 9 to 5.
Yep.
And that really shifts everything spiritually, mentally, physically.
Yeah.
Because like, you get home from a day and you were like, for me, it's a drain. I would say like spiritually and mentally, from not really physically, unless I'm like at an actual shoot. Otherwise I'm just editing, sitting on a chair. It's not really physical, but it's
a different kind of physical.
Yeah, it's like a mental.
The sedentary physical is a real thing. It's, you gotta stand up and move.
That shift, from my normal schedule, it's like an immediate schedule change, because that meant when I got home, I'm tired. I don't really feel like doing anything, and that means I rest for a couple hours, and then it feels like I have to stay up late now because I'm gonna miss having fun, because I'm actually like awake now. And then that means I wouldn't wake up early, and so it really like it's like a just switch everything. And I think I know I've mentioned it in the past on here, but like it's important to list out everything in your life that is a drain and that builds you up. And like over time, and that's what I've found has been the most challenging thing, is finding those and attacking them one by one. On like, okay, what can I do here so that I can get up early and read the word?
Right.
Therefore, I'm spiritually, feeling better throughout the day.
Right.
And like that was kind of, and I'm still not quite there, but I figured it out. Better gym schedule. Now it's a matter of like doing it. I've done fine. But like,
not this week. It's been cake. Just cake and cookies all week
still
long.
Full. Yeah. But that was probably the most challenging. Is like I didn't expect that to be a thing. Like I didn't realize going to full time would be such a dramatic change in like every area of my life.
Yeah, man.
But that's probably the hardest thing.
I don't know. There's parts of being of coming into adulthood that no one can really teach a person. I can tell them, I can say, hey, here's what's going to happen, but until it's been experienced, you're not going to believe anybody that says it. And part of it is the biggest struggle of adulthood I've found, just having done this a bit, is knowing when to put down the dishes to pick up the Xbox and when to put down the Xbox to pick up the dishes.
Yeah.
I think it was 2013 was a hard year for me. The one thing it did is it taught me how much I could actually handle.
Uh-huh.
Now, granted, there's difference between how much I can handle short term, how much I can do long term, and some days, especially doing full-time jobs, some other stuff, and Gospel Outpost, some days it's okay, we're gonna have a late night, and I have to push through that because of things I put in place in order to help grow this thing. And other days it's okay, I'm gonna have to finish this in the morning because it is personally not good to do this thing I'm doing, and the payoff is not good enough to damage that. I mean, that's kind of been the biggest part of adulthood, is figuring out when do I blow off the stuff I have to do in order to go recharge, and when do I drain the battery until it falls apart. So yeah. So I know, because of 2013, I know where my throw up and nosebleed point is, because we found that frequently, which we'll get into that a little later.
Yeah.
In the episode. No, that's good, man. That's good.
Yeah, let's flip it. What about you? What was the first question you asked me? Because I can't.
How have I been blessed this year, basically?
Yeah.
Gosh, I mean, this is This feels as if I've been through 3 different years this year. And I really don't know how else to put this. I mean, there's been answers to prayers. There's been some bittersweet moments, but overall, I don't know. I've always told people my life doesn't make sense as I'm going forward through it.
Right.
It is only understandable as the hand of God as I'm at the end. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, I see what God's doing there. So if you had told me 12 months ago I'd be doing children's ministry, I would not have believed you, to be honest. I never thought that it would be the thing. And now I'm kind of digging it. It's great. There was I'm not sure how much of this I can actually say. We'll say I'm not going to include names because they're minors, and I don't want YouTube to delete our channel. Happy New Year's, channel gone. It's small things that I would actually look over at the kids and they'd be bowing their heads in prayer or going through the worship songs and just that kind of things that they weren't doing 3 months ago, or 4 months ago, or any of that, and just being able to spend time and to show them how to do these things. It's been very humbling. And I've gotten better as a teacher, as a communicator, because I have to say things to a specific audience. I do have to bring this type of knowledge up here. I have to bring it down to here to be able to have people understand it. It's taught me humility. That's been a really great part, is because I had a few days, actually this happened last Sunday, I had a few days, I thought I was spitting fire as far as teaching was concerned. Student raised a hand in the back room, in the back, and I go, yeah, absolutely. And he's like, are we having snack? No, because I'm petty and angry because I just said really profound things and no one here cares, It's a humbling moment, and it's planting a seed that isn't going to grow for like 3 years after that, so you just got to kind of do it and hope, and trust that God's going to take care of it. But it's very humbling to know that these people literally do not care how much I know, and how much I can impart to them. It's I have to build that connection, build that back up. But
one thing that sticks out to me when you said it's humbling is I remember when you first got hired and you were like, I'm not going to be that children's minister that wears costumes. And we already talked about this a bit on the podcast. And then
we haven't talked about the extent of it. That's the thing.
The extent, yeah. And flash forward to now.
You're wrong.
You just dressed up as Santa. You've done so many things.
I've done Batman.
Yeah.
I did Batman.
You've had multiple costumes. That's how bad it is.
I personally own a shirt with a Batman logo and a cape. Why they make this in adult sizes, haven't figured that one out. Yeah. But I own a shirt that has a cape. And someone said, hey, did you put that on the church card? And I said, absolutely not. Then I wouldn't own the shirt.
Yep.
And I'm like, that's a ridiculous thing I said. Yeah, that Christmas suit.
Uh-huh.
Which
is kind of cool.
No, it's not. It's not. It's the most.
Check out last week's episode if you want to see him wearing that.
I just have that now. You know, yeah. And it's not gonna get better.
Yeah.
I've looked ahead at the curriculum. It's not gonna get better. So that thing I told God's like, but I'm not gonna be the crazy scientist. God's like, you'll do what I say.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to? I don't need you. I chose you out of grace to do this. This is a grace. Yeah. This is not a I need Danny. It's I can use anyone. You're just the dumb idiot I picked to do this. I'm like, right. Oh, got it, God. Yes, sir. Yeah. So no, but it's been. As humbling as that is, it's been a real blessing to do this. How
has God challenged you this year, Danny?
Gosh, it's like I know the answer and I want to word it differently.
Just say it. Unless it's crude.
No, it's not crude. It's been... So, all right, since... 2012, I think I've moved about... Not 2012. Go back to like 2010, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let's go since college. Okay. After I graduated college, I've probably moved about 8 or 9 times.
Right.
And just every time except one. No, that was bittersweet too. It was all very bittersweet.
Yeah.
And I am happy and blessed to be in the place I'm at. They have welcomed me in very quickly. That church is amazing. I'm glad to be there.
Yeah.
And it was at start it was bittersweet to be able to leave a place I had been for like over a decade.
Right.
And take that step out to do a new thing. And it was a thing I knew this is a place God had been calling. I prayed through it. I sought counsel. I knew I was supposed to be there. They have been the greatest people I could have ever asked for coming into this new church, coming out of the old job. It was an answer to prayer. It was time. I was feeling the urge to get back into ministry. God opened an opportunity to do that. And it was just kind of every move, good or bad, is bittersweet because you can't go to a new thing without leaving behind the old thing.
Right.
And it's not that I stopped caring about them. I still talk to a few people, but it is different, and because it just is.
Yeah.
And good or bad. So that's probably been the most challenging, is just finding my identity and place in all this, and
right.
Yeah. And being able to find that in Christ first and understand I am the person God created me to be, to do the thing God called me to do. I am bought by the blood of Christ, and nothing will take that away from me.
Yeah.
And I'm in the place God has called me to be. I mean, I feel so pumped to be in the place I'm at. I'm starting to have more ideas and dreams again, and just ways to do more and better, but not to do more better, because that's terrible English.
More better.
Ways to do more better. But at the same time, probably the biggest thing I had to understand is don't spurn the place you have been or where you are, and only keep eyes open to the next thing, but to be in the place you're at because God is using it, good or bad.
Yeah.
I mean, this whole thing, it was God's timing that I just had to sit and stay put and wait for God's timing. And I could have spurred against that and said, like, well, I'm getting him, I'm upset, I don't want to be there. But that wouldn't have produced in me the things God needed to build and chisel out and build up to be in the place I'm at. It's this odd thing that the place I'm at and the things I'm going to start going ahead are all built on the foundation of things God did before that I had no idea were going on.
Right.
So that was the most challenging, is just understand that God works towards the good of his people who are called by his name.
Yeah.
I mean, that's easy to kind of like talk about, but in the middle of it, that's when it gets hard, because to understand God is working towards our good doesn't always feel that in the moment, but is that at the end of the day.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I mean, and it's crazy because, like, I feel like for me personally, I mean, I never see it. I never see that, okay, God has used this for something good until it's like over or way past it's over. Like, you know.
Right.
And it's, you know, of course, being the control freak humans are, we want that to be otherwise. But, like, and sometimes, I mean, we do catch on with God's vision. We're like, okay, I feel like I need to start, you know, leaving. And sometimes, and like God is showing you, like, day by day that this is what he's using you to do. But a lot of times it's blind. And it's hard.
Yeah. And it's odd because I think both of us have done this too, that both of us have been able to point it out in the other person better sometimes. That's like, hey man, I think God's doing this. And I know that you've done this to me like a couple of times. Like, I think God's doing this. And you're like, yeah, did you not know? Like, that's where you are in this? Oh, I thought you were way ahead. Like, yeah.
And it doesn't feel good, does it?
No, it doesn't. It's like, this is really obvious for some other people. So sometimes it's just us catching up. I mean, I know I asked at a point, am I about to do something stupid? And you said, like, oh yeah, man, don't do that. Like, do you not see this as the answer to the prayers that you've been praying? Like, okay, that's a good point that I didn't think about for some dumb reason, you know?
Yeah.
So... yeah, I know that you've done that to me. I think I've even said that to you at some point.
Like, before.
yeah, new revelation here, buddy. Ooh. Right. So, no, but that's just been where I've been. 2019 for Gospel Outpost and Nobody Special, it was actually fantastic. I don't have the stats pulled up, but it was great. You know, for everybody that's tuning in who started during 2019, thank you so much for making this the thing that it is.
Really,
we are approaching 100 episodes of this. You don't have, if you want to go back and listen to them all, you can.
That's going to be a lot of, we need to calculate.
You don't have to.
We need to get the stats for 100th episode release of like how many minutes together, you know, all the podcasts.
Oh, that we can do.
Yeah.
Some of the stats we will never be able to have again.
Yeah.
Because someone forgot to offload them before they switched the hosting service.
Yeah.
Let's see. The blog actually had the best month. Actually, at the same time, I think it was October.
Yeah.
Yeah, for both of them. Massive spikes in October that stayed pretty consistent after, and both Caleb and I are very humbled at that. That people choose to tune into this podcast and hear us talk about Jesus and how great he is and everything he's done for us every day.
Yeah.
And then to talk about pop culture in the process, but
be goofy.
The podcast gets a fair amount of more traffic than it did in the past, and Caleb and I are honored and brainstorming ways to grow and do better and do more and do more better. Do more better. And as always, Caleb and I are open to taking questions, people asking advice or any of that, or just saying hi. Both of us, we really love that. But so 2020 though is coming up, and I have a feeling we're standing on the edge of what is going to be a difficult year. We started this podcast very intentionally after the November election in 2016. And we started this because both him and I said, well, I don't want to talk about that, so we'll start after. I think we started a week after the election. Yeah. So now we can't get out of it unless we take 3 months off.
We can just not talk about it. We're going to line up a bunch of pre-scripted stuff.
We cannot talk
biblical
about
topics, questions from you guys that aren't involved in the election.
What's your thoughts on the election? Nah, fam, we out. No, I mean, what I'm seeing as far as 2020 is concerned is the lines between politics and Christian faith are blurring more than I've seen them blur in the past, and to me, that is a bit terrifying.
Yeah.
That churches, instead of lining up according to their faith, are starting to attack their brother and sister in Christ because of differences in politics, and that to me is, this could be contentious. And I don't know. There's 2 impeachments. They're working on the second round of impeachment. They're not moving them forward. Christianity Today is putting out articles that I haven't decided if I'm gonna personally put an article out on just to talk about it.
I mean, even
Christian Twitter is exploding, and that's partially why I enjoy Christmas, is because for 1 week everyone just shuts up and says, Emmanuel, God is with us, and it's like, oh, thank you, we can all just calm. But I do think 2020 is going to be rough, and because of that, it's going to be more important than ever to understand the good that God is doing, because it's going to be very, very clouded by all the garbage of the enemy.
Yeah.
I mean, is that fair?
Yeah.
So, in Joshua chapter 4, there's kind of a cool moment that God tells them to stop and put up stones as an altar, as a tribute to the thing that they've done. They're looking at the past in order to look towards the future and tell the story of God having done a thing, in order to be sure that God will do a thing again.
Right.
So Caleb, do you want to read that for us? Joshua 4, 1-7.
Yep. When all the nation had finished passing over the Jordan, the Lord said to Joshua, "Take 12 men from the people, from each tribe a man, and command them, saying, Take 12 stones from here out of the midst of the Jordan, from the very place where the priest's feet stood firmly, and bring them over with you, and lay them down in the place where you lodge tonight." Then Joshua called the 12 men from the people of Israel, whom he had appointed, a man from each tribe. And Joshua said to them, "Pass on before the ark of the Lord your God into the midst of the Jordan, and take up each of you a stone upon his shoulder, according to the number of tribes of the people of Israel. That this may be a sign among you. When your children ask in time to come, what do those stones mean to you? Then you shall tell them that the waters of the Jordan were cut off before the ark of the covenant of the Lord. When it passed over the Jordan, the waters of the Jordan were cut off. So these stones shall be to the people of Israel a memorial forever."
So they're stepping into kind of the hardest thing they're ever going to have to do, and part of that's retake the promised area, the promised space God gave them, and also they're going to have to be a country that can't blame everything on Egypt anymore,
right.
Which feels unfair to say, except for the fact that that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
it was up to them to be faithful to follow God. They couldn't blame anybody else trying to oppress them or do anything else. And they needed to know that whatever trouble they found themselves in, having crossed the Jordan, which they should not have been able to do, they crossed the Jordan on dry ground, that God could take care of it no matter what. And they built stones. They kind of, each of them brought a stone to build a memorial, an altar, in order that they'd be able to tell the story. And I think oftentimes in Christianity today, not the magazine, but in modern day Christianity, we stop telling the stories. And I think that we have to get back to telling the stories of what God is doing and where we see God moving.
Yeah.
Because it was a command. Granted, they didn't have printing press, iPhones, or ebooks that they could just send a file to each other. I mean, they couldn't airdrop the scriptures to each other. They had to actually, it was scrolls, and it was different.
Yeah.
But because of that, they became a very story-driven culture, in that when they told a story, it was to tell a story of the past in order to look ahead to the future. That they could trust that God is with them because God had been with them in the past, and if everything's on God, then they haven't done anything to push God out, because again, everything's on God.
Yeah.
So in 2020, I want to tell the story. I know we talked about it a bit, but I want to tell the story again. Project Joy, I know we talked about this like a month ago, but Project Joy starting January 1st. It's going to be #ProjectJoy365, and this is kind of the background of it. I don't know if have I told the entire background to you? I might have.
Yeah.
2013, I was crazy depressed. Everyone had moved. Mom and Dad moved out. The people I was doing school with dropped out. It was like 4 of them. All my friends in school dropped out. So it was just me and one other person who I adopted him as my friend. I'm like, I will be your friend now because all my friends are gone.
Yeah.
And him and I just did every other class then. He was my school buddy. It was kind of cool. But I was working like 60 hours doing school, barely making ends meet as far as bills go. I was probably throwing up like 5-6 times a week, and nosebleeds about the same frequency. Most nights I was getting 4 to 5 hours of sleep a night, and this happened. Sorry, this was 2012, and this happened every day for about a year and a half. So at the end of 2012, I just stopped and thought, in just a rare moment of clarity, I'm super depressed. And to say that is like really self-aware, like, wow, what is happening? And I thought to myself, I'm very depressed because what I had done is a thing happened. It was a bad thing, and I just chewed on it all day. I was like, you took my fries. They were my fries. You took that out, and I was gonna eat that, but you ate instead. And that's...
Was it really about fries?
No.
Okay.
Not that time.
Nice.
No, I did once get unjustifiably angry that someone ate my leftovers that I was really excited for.
Oh, I've done that multiple times.
Right? It's justifiable anger.
It sucks the joy out of everything.
It's like, ooh, I get that half burrito when I get home from work. Hey, eat your burrito.
Yeah.
The grace of God go with you. Like, I love you very much, I guess. I don't know. No, so I stopped just having been boiling in anger all day and said, like, this can't be good for me. All right.
You'll be right.
All right. And I stopped and asked a few questions. Has 2012 stunk? And I went, yeah, it has. Why has it stunk? Okay, because this happened. And I was able to just rattle those off. Boom, 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 over and over. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Do I think God has not been present in 2012? And this is where the argument happened, people, because my brain understood that, I could not, in good conscience, claim that God had departed from me for all of 2012.
Yeah.
Can't claim that.
Right.
As a rational human being who was in seminary at the time, I have no backing to say, Eman not UL, like God not with us. That's not how you do that in Hebrew, by the way.
Yeah.
Not Emmanuel. I can't say that because that goes against the very foundational principles of what Christmas is all about.
Right.
That God came to be with us and we didn't earn it. Okay. And this was the question that kind of messed me up, because I then stopped and said, and to be honest, this was probably the Holy Spirit just stirring up in me, where have you seen the hand of God in 2012? And I just sat there because I had no idea.
Right.
Because I hadn't thought about it. I hadn't practiced it. I hadn't told the story. I wasn't trying to find it. And I just sat there. I was like, if I can rationally say God was there, but cannot point to any specific thing God has done, then this is a real problem, not with everybody else, but with me. And that was hard. That was a real kind of a wake up moment there, to go like, all right, now what? Like, I mean, that was where I was at. It was a messed up place, and I kind of decided to say, like, okay, 2013, I'm going to yeah, sorry about the light.
I'm in the darkness.
2013, I'm going to intentionally find the hand of God, what he's doing, and I'm going to take pictures, and I'm going to post it on Instagram, because I'm going to share it and do these things. And
yeah.
And that's kind of how that started. So I know that you're in a few of them, and it annoyed you at the time. You're like, stop taking my picture. I'm like, shut up.
Because you
it's a good
didn't
day.
Explain.
Huh?
Didn't explain the story, Danny.
I know. I didn't want to yet.
I know, yeah. But I mean, this is a good thing to do.
It's hard to start a story by saying I'm massively depressed. Like, what? Like, hey, why are you doing this? Oh, because this smile is fake. You know.
I mean, but it's a crazy good thing to do, because even if we can't see, like, everyone thinks that God moving has to be these big things.
No.
And it can be, these small things.
Yeah.
And like we're doing through that, picking them out and building a stone monument towards them, so you can look back and remember, okay, that's what God did. That's what God did. I mean, that's really important. And like, especially if you're going through a hard time.
Yeah.
And I think that, I mean, it's a great idea. And that's why, we would love for you guys to participate in this. And, it doesn't have to be every day, but anytime you need something to remind you of, a small thing that God has done, then post a picture on Instagram or Facebook. Which one?
So I have it set up that I created a page on thegospeloutpost.com/projectjoy365 that if they post it on Instagram, it's going to pull that feed straight into there, so that all of us can come in, and even if I don't post, another person is going to be talking about things that God is doing as a blessing to them. Yeah. I chose to do it every day because I needed to be intentional about finding the hand of God every day. And to be honest, I still have the old pictures. There are some days it's a sandwich. And that says two things, or it says a couple of things. A, that was not a good day. The best part of that day was a sandwich. But the more important thing was, even in the middle of a terrible day, I still had the blessing of God with a really good sandwich. And that helped to kind of change my perspective on things, because God's in the garbage as much as he is in the other stuff. And just because the day is bad doesn't mean God is there. And there are times, it was this great time, all friends are hanging out, and I just grabbed a quick picture. And then there are other days that I had a book and a cup of coffee and just time to read, and I took that. But those... I would encourage people to do every day, just to find the hand of God.
Right.
To be intentional about trying to find it instead of stumbling across it. But if they go to thegospeloutpost.com/projectjoy365, the instructions are on there, but post it on Instagram and use hashtag projectjoy365, tag the Gospel Outpost and at a Nobody Special podcast, just so we get notifications and can go and check them as well. And that'll be a good way to be in there and just tell the story of what God's doing and where the hand of God's been a blessing.
And this is a funny thing. I know you probably didn't want to share this, but
no, that's gonna be down. That's gonna be down
because it pulls every single photo that with that hashtag. There's one on there, and it's like Danny had to put a little disclaimer that like just because there's photos on here with this hashtag doesn't mean we always support them, because it's like this girl.
It's not
even like scandalous, but it's like. I mean, it's funny. It's something that you would
regular content.
Yeah,
I will say that.
Yeah, and
because hers was the most recent,
it's like the biggest on the square. It's great. That made my day when he showed me that. But you can't win all the time.
Please don't make me take this down. Like, I mean. I literally, I'm gonna have to take HTML course to figure out how to, do all block this hashtag minus this one, like minus post ID, blah 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 hex code. So now,
but
I can't believe you shared that.
That's funny. I like to embarrass you. That's why I shared that. But guys, participate. I don't post on Instagram often, but each time I do, it's generally something that. I feel like is super,
right.
God moved through it in some way. And so I'll probably start using that hashtag each time I post. But join us.
Yeah.
Join us.
So, because 2020, it'll be a rough one over my dead body. That's too far. Too far.
Politics are politics. That's.
Yeah.
If 2020 is a rough year because of that, maybe, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be that bad, but maybe for you.
But you haven't been paying attention to the news. Oh, dude, it's getting buck wild out there.
Oh, yeah. I'm saying...
The only good part about politics in the end of December is that they're all on vacation.
I'm saying that politics, there's a second one. Now we're
getting serious. If you or someone wants to support the Gospel Outpost.
Yeah, but politics are, let's just say, it doesn't need to be the ruler of your life.
No,
emotions.
It doesn't.
Although I know lots of people where that is true, Danny. I'm just kidding.
It super doesn't.
I'm joking.
I'm fascinated by some of it.
Yeah.
I'm that nerd watching C-SPAN.
Gosh. But
C-SPAN on Mondays, crazy boring.
Be sure to go follow the Gospel Outpost and Nobody Special on Instagram. You can follow Nobody Special at Nobody Special Podcast on Instagram and Facebook, and the Gospel Outpost on Instagram and Facebook. It's just called the Gospel Outpost, right?
I think so. There's a lot of data in my head right now.
Just type it in, you'll find it.
Google it.
If you're looking hard enough. And other than that, give us 5 stars if you enjoyed the podcast. And on YouTube, we post podcasts on iTunes or all podcast services, except Spotify. They're too premium for us.
They want $5 a month.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's not even that much. It's like, you want to give us 5? Nah, I'm good.
But go. What was I gonna say? Oh, it releases on Fridays on podcast services, and on YouTube if it's still live in January. It will be posted on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So go check us out on YouTube. Ring the bell.
Right.
Subscribe.
Right. And
if you want.
And I mean, just in case YouTube decides to nuke our channel on January 1st, do go follow Nobody's Special Podcast on Facebook, because we will definitely put out updates or videos there, and figured out all of our stuff's backed up, so there will be zero data loss. But just in case, because I know there's some weird things going on the algorithms and all that are solely caused by Steven Crowder. Like, I mean, that's what happened, right? Like, the 100% Louder with Crowder took on Vox, and that's what happened. So, and they made changes that just punished the creator. So anyway, the only other thing, if you have questions or comments or anything that you're interested in giving us directly, please go to thegospel.outpost.com/nobodyspecial and fill out the form at the bottom of the page. That's the best way to contact us, or just through DMs might actually be the best way, but we'll figure all that out too. So, man, Caleb, 2020 is going to be great.
Yes.
I'm excited.
Let's end it with a fist bump.
A fist bump. Is this our new thing?
No, that's just how we're gonna...
And then the logo spins out. Like, yeah. No, but thanks everyone for tuning in, for making 2019 such a great year. We'll see everyone in 2020.
Yep.
And so I think that's going to do it for us today. I'm Danny.
And I'm Caleb.
And we are Nobody Special.